Welcome back, Giga Chats of Azeroth, to the Mythic Tavern. Today we're going to be talking about the Tuskarr and the Gnolls, and how I believe they will be a playable race at some point in time in Dragonflight. So first of all, of course, we're going to cover the elephant in the room, which are the Tuskarr, and then we're going to talk about the Gnolls a little bit later. So, what's going on with the Tuskarr? As you guys know, in the previous video, I've talked about why I like Dragonflight and things like that, and I've previously mentioned that they have completely new models, including both female and children now. So now you have a whole, family thing going, right, for the Tuskarr. On top of that, the models are oppressed. They have higher resolution textures, and in this screenshot right here, you can see them wearing a pair of glasses. You can see this Tuskarr wearing these glasses, and somebody on Twitter pointed out that this is actually a player model item, glasses that players can wear. Okay, that's really interesting, rather. And on top of that, if you look in this screenshot in the back, you can see a Tuskarr sitting on an outer mount. Another interesting thing. Very curious, isn't it? Why would Blizzard be putting in all this time and effort, money and work, and into the Tuskarr by themselves? And of course the Gnolls, but we'll get to the Gnolls in a little bit. You don't just sit there, a developer doesn't just sit there and make things just to update for the sake of updating stuff. There's always a reason. It's most likely they're going to be used either, now or later in some very heavy capacity. Well, first of all, Tuskarr are a big part of Dragonflight, as I previously mentioned. People really like them in Northrend, Wrath of the Lich King, and they decided to bring them back here. There's probably going to be a new reputation with them, with a couple of new rewards, I'm sure, and whatnot. And hey, might as well give them a complete facelift, right? Or overhaul, period. But we know that people also want them as a playable race at some point in time. So what I believe is going to happen, I don't think you're going to be able to play them at launch, unless Blizzard decides to secretly save them for a pre-order announcement and be like, hey, if you pre-order WoW now, you can play them as a neutral race on both Horde and Alliance, or maybe it's just going to be an Alliance race and then the Horde gets Gnolls or something like that. Doesn't really matter, whatever, that's just semantics at this point. Either way, I believe this race will exist at some point in time. And what I think will happen is, in 10.0, we get introduced to them, for both new players and old players. We do some stuff for them, some questing, some reputation gains. And then what's going to happen is, once you get exalted with them, maybe in like 10.1 or 10.2, whenever Blizzard decides to do that, they will become a playable allied race, similar to how they've done allied races both in Legion and in Battle for Azeroth. They introduced a ton of races in Battle for Azeroth throughout the expansion. First you had the Maghar and the Dark Irons, then I think you had the Coltiran and the Zandalar, and then you had the Volpera and the Mechanomes, like in three different patches. So launch, mid, end, right? And you had new stuff to play every patch, which was really cool and something to shoot for with the reputations and achievements. So I think that's great. And on top of that, heritage armor and all that stuff, pretty dope. I think they can totally do that for the Tuskarr, and I think them being playable in 10.1 would make the most sense instead of them being playable right off the bat. So yeah, I mean, at the beginning we already have dracthyr in the new class evoker, so I'm sure plenty of people are going to be too busy playing that instead. I'm not too really worried about it. I do believe sincerely that they're going to introduce them in Dragonflight at some point in time. This is the right time to do Tuskarr, period. And Blizzard knows it better than anybody else does. Now, what about the Gnolls? Well, I think the Gnolls are also a popular race. They're very iconic to World of Warcraft and just Warcraft in general because, I mean, you had them since the RTS days of Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. Very popular humanoid hyenas that people just love to kill for gold. And, it's just a cool enemy and, very iconic sounds that they make. So, of course, then you got Hogger and Elwyn Forest and whatnot. So, if there's going to be a playable Gnoll race, make sure to go and reserve your Hogger name as soon as possible and use as many symbols as you can to let people know that it's a Hogger name. So, yeah, again, they both got new models. However, I don't know if they have female models specifically, so that might be a little bit difficult. This would also be a counter race for the Horde to the Worgen, a dog, unless you're considering Volpera as the animal race for the Horde that counters the, I guess you could say, the Worgen, but, Worgen is a little bit more menacing, and I think Horde needs something also menacing, such as the hyenas, or in this case, the Gnolls. So I think that'd be really cool. As far as what mounts they would use, I really have no idea. They could just go on all fours, similar to the Worgens. Maybe they could get something, but it would be really weird to see a hyena on an animal that's already an animal already mounted on an animal. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. But then again, you got the Tuskarr, who are just basic walruses, right? And they're riding otters. It's World of Warcraft. It's high fantasy. I guess it doesn't really matter. They're just Giga Chats. They can do whatever they want. So those are my personal opinions on what I think will happen with the Tuskarr and the Gnolls. I think it's very possible. With the addition of cross-faction, it doesn't really matter which race, which faction gets what. You can still play with your friends anyway. However, I do think if they do introduce both Tuskarr and Gnolls, Tuskarr will go to the Alliance, Gnolls will go to the Horde, or what they could do is introduce Tuskarr, you know, as a neutral race, and maybe as the Gnolls as a neutral race too. But I feel like Gnolls would just be more allied with the Horde. I don't know. They're very like I don't even know if they would be playable, because like Gnolls don't really have alliances. I think with Tuskarr, you can actually speak to them, right? And the Gnolls are just very hostile creatures to begin with. So I'm not really sure what their thing is in terms of lore. But then again, Blizzard can always retcon shit as they usually do and fit it their own narrative as they need for gameplay reasons and all that crap. So who knows? You know, would I be surprised if we get an all race? Somewhat. Would I be surprised if we get a Tuskarr race? Not really, not at all. It's just a matter of when at this point. There's just too many obvious signs. New models, kids, females, up-res textures, otter mounts, and player wearable glasses. Like, come on now. Yeah, that's just too much. But anyway, guys, just wanted to do a quick video on the allied race for Dragonflight. I think they will continue with that. It's just too good of content and fun stuff for people to play with and unlock. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's just a matter of when, as I said. What are your opinions on this whole allied race thing? Do you think we will see the Tuskarr, and if so, why? Do you think we will see the Gnolls, and if so, why, and how, and when? Let me know in the comments below, fellas. This was a really fun video to make. Kind of casual. I'll try to get 2 videos out in a week or something, maybe 3, no promises. I think 2 a week is pretty good, because I would rather focus on good content rather than, you know, regurgitated info and stuff like that. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for checking this video out. My Giga Chat Azorothians. I can't even speak today properly. Oh well, I'm not gonna be cutting that out. Anyways, guys, you can make fun of my mumbling, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Peace out and have a good one.